I really love it because it's so flat. You know, there's no place as flat as level. Butch Hancock said that you can see for 50 miles in every direction. And if you stand on a tuna fish can, you can see for 100 miles. And I think it's Terry Allen that said if you look far enough over the horizon, you see the back of your own head. It's a nice, it's flat, yeah.
Good to see you down here, Joe.
I'm sure glad to be here, glad to share some songs with you. Some brand new songs and some that I've carried with me right now. My friend, fellow Flatlander, Butch Hancock, and Jimmy Dale Gilmore, we kind of had a strange meeting, you know. I kind of grew up listening to Buddy Holly and more of the rock and roll stuff, you know, the Sonny Curtis who wrote I Fought the Law and the Law Won, and Butch grew up with like real folksy stuff, you know, and Jimmy, his daddy played in a honky-tonk, played guitar in a honky-tonk. So Jimmy learned all those old like Floyd Tillman songs and Lefty Frizzell. So when we put stuff together, you never knew quite what it was going to turn out to be. But it was always something real interesting about it. Like one time Butch actually came, we all lived in a house together over by Texas Tech in Lubbock, and we could, between 4 or 5 people that lived in the house, we could come up with $85 that it took to pay each month's rent. And I'll never forget Butch coming down to the breakfast table one morning with telling us about a song that he had dreamed the night before. And he told us the story of how he had dreamed it. He had been asleep in this dream, and he found some guy in a little room with one of those old reel-to-reel tape recorders. And the guy said, "Here, I want you to hear something." And he played this song, and it was actually Jimmy Dale singing his song on the tape recorder. And Butch was listening to it, and he said he woke up and started writing this song down as quick as he could. And he got the first 2 verses, but he couldn't remember the chorus and the last verse. And so he went back to sleep and found this room and went in there and asked the guy if he would rewind the tape recorder so that he could hear the chorus and the last verse. And I'll be damned if he didn't wake up and write down the chorus and the last verse. And 6 months later, Jimmy recorded the song. Now, is that weird, or, you know? And I think this is, I've never learned that whole song. Jimmy's recorded it, but I think this is the first verse of it, and you can see how it feels like you're inside of a dream. But thirst is not the answer. Oceans come and go. I loved your 7 seas, Lord, I loved your soul, but she let me down so easy, one slow drop at a time. I would have killed myself, but it made no sense, committing suicide in self-defense, when she said, "Babe, you're just a wave, you're not the water." I gotta learn the whole thing, but I had to share that with y'all. I had never met anybody who had the nerve to actually go back in a dream and find the tape recorder. And that's insane. But I want to play you another one of Butch's songs that he wrote about that same time. The first time I heard it, I knew I was going to play it for a long time. If you were a bluebird, you'd be sad. I'd give you a true word, but you've already had one. If you were a bluebird, you'd be crying, you'd be flying home. And if you were a raindrop, you'd shine like a rainbow. If you were a train stop, the conductor would sing low. If you were a raindrop, you'd be falling, you'd be calling home. But if you hit a slow spell, do you think you'd stand one? If you were a hotel, I'd lean on your doorbell, I'd call you my home. And if I was a highway, I'd stretch alongside. I'd help you pass by the way that I've dissatisfied you. If I was a highway, I'd be stretched